guys happen to remember James Damore? He was the guy who had the Google memo, who was explaining why there aren't more ladies in STEM, okay? Why there aren't more female engineers at Google, and then he ended up getting fired because of it. Well, along those similar lines, we have... what's his name? Zac Kriegman here. He was a part of Thomas Reuters' data department, and he was tackling that very, very prickly subject of 13 and 50. Okay, if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Otherwise, we're going to get into this. And take a look at this fucking headline. Daily Mail. I like you sometimes, but other times you're just so fucking preposterous in your writing. White Thomas Reuters data scientist says he was fired from $350K role, I'm sure that was per year, by woke bullies for sharing data showing cops kill more unarmed white people than black people. So he was just relying on FBI crime statistics and claiming BLM contributed to the deaths of thousands. Okay, so probably just running the numbers, writing up a report, and they're like, the numbers are racist and you should be fired because of it. Unbelievable. I can't believe this is... Actually, I can totally believe this is still happening, but why? You just looking at the numbers. This is literally a guy who fucking analyzes data for a living, reporting data, and then gets canceled over it? Oh, God. A former director of data science at Thomas Reuters says he was fired for sharing research on the company's internal social media platform that showed police killed more unarmed white people than black people, and that Black Lives Matter movement allegedly caused the deaths of thousands. Okay. The first line in the first allegation, more white people, more unarmed white people get killed than black people every year by the police. That's an indisputable fact, and it has been since they've started keeping statistics on the subject. I just don't know where he comes to the conclusion about BLM killing or causing the deaths of thousands, okay? Contributing to? Yeah, I could see it if you take in a whole bunch of other data sets, but let's see what he's working with here. Zac Kriegman, who worked at Thomas Reuters for 6 years before being fired last summer, claimed he was let go from his $350,000 job. That's good fucking work, and I can see why he's upset by this. Because he stood against the company supporting reporting conventions on BLM in order to dispel the false narrative that black people were the largest victims of police violence. So this man is ultra fucking based, okay? In a piece first published on Barry Weiss's Substack, Common Sense. Okay, so he's in good company. Barry Weiss left, I think, New York Times over the fact that, well, they've become the New York Times. Enough said. Kriegman said he shared with colleagues concerns that reporting saying unarmed black people are killed by police at a disproportionately higher rate than white counterparts was not accurate. That's fair. That's fair. The Washington Post. Oh boy, that beacon of truth, honesty, and fair journalism. Oh, which has led the effort to document fatal police shootings. Yeah, again, he's working with, actual crime statistics and not a spin on facts in a less than reputable track record. What do they have to say? Found the police had killed 3,024 white people and 1,596 black people since 2015. Okay, so he pointed out that police killed more unarmed white people than black people, and then you take a look at all the statistics, and that's a total, okay? The amount of white people killed by the cops, 3,000, is a little bit more than 1,600 black people. I don't know, do we need to hire a statistician or a mathematician because the statistician reporting the facts is a racism? Findings highlight that black people were disproportionately affected by the shootings that made up only 13% of the U.S. population. Nope, shut it down. But Kriegman said the rhetoric was incomplete, and when he tried proving it, he said he received backlash from fellow white co-workers. Yep, exactly. White, and you're leaving out another distinguishing factor, another immutable characteristics that normally implies that there's two tits and a fucking vagina involved. Just saying. I was publicly derided as a troll, confused, laughable, and not worth engaging with or attempting to have an intelligent conversation with. Yeah, all the shaming language. Yep, no, all this fucking shit checks out so far. And you can even see here, look at the way that it's characterized in this nice illustrative graph that they have here. Sorry, choked on my fucking words for a moment. But no, oh my god, they have all of those black people. They got 1,596 people killed, and then a much smaller bar on the graph for the 1,089 Hispanic people killed. That doesn't really look like it checks out proportionate wise. And then, yes, 3,024 white people. Wait a minute, that's like more than both of those groups combined, actually, and then the 243 people, that looks like it's really, really odd. Okay. Oh, but no, they're working on population percentiles, right? Because there's 42 million black people, and therefore they're just the police are just running around and just capping black people all the time. Cool. That's why it just gets completely fucking bum rushed when you put proper context in there. Okay. The Washington Post reported that while more unarmed white people have been killed by police since 2015, black people have been disproportionately affected, as they only represent 13% of the population, but make up 1,596 of those deaths so far. Okay, again, don't put in context the severity of the situation. Was the opposite person armed? Did they have a criminal record? Were they resisting arrest? And to what means were these people killed by the police, okay? Was it somebody who overdosed in custody? Was it somebody who got 3 in the back of the head? Like, what are we talking about here? And again, these numbers have been debunked since, everything started to kick up in 2020. Because when you take a look at unarmed people killed by the police, it's still more white people, okay? And then you run down the situation and you realize that there are only like a handful of questionable scenarios, and all of those go on to get prosecuted, okay? Eric Chauvin, okay? Kim Potter, those ones just immediately come to mind because they were just so high profile. Whether you like the result or not, they get prosecuted. Doesn't make any sense. Thomas Reuters said that it does not discuss specific employee issues, and that Reuters and the news division of Thomas Reuters reports on topics related to race and equality and the BLM organization in a fair, unbiased, and independent manner consistent with the Thomas Reuters trust principles. Press X to doubt. Actually, smash X to doubt on that one, because there's nothing but glowing praise for Black Lives Matter, let's be honest. And Reuters, yes, used to be the gold standard, and they used to follow those trust principles, but now, really? Are we still trying to gaslight the public? Sure seems like you're trying. Kriegman had argued that rather at looking at the population as a whole to seek who was truly more impacted by police violence, reporters needed to instead take into account the racial groups police felt more threatened from. Yeah, exactly. It's called a lived experience and personal understanding of a situation. Like if you have a understanding of the suspect that you're going after, if you know that they're armed, you know that they're dangerous, then yeah, you're going to proceed with a certain amount of caution. And if it so happens that you get called out for a gang shootout, you're probably not looking for some cat named Blake wearing khakis. You're probably looking for a tatted up Mexican dude with a fucking button up with just the top 2 buttons, or Leroy with the saggy jeans. Probably what's going to end up fucking happening. Sorry that reality is not as equitable as you'd like it to be. To this end, Kriegman cited the FBI's research into the racial demographics of those who have been killed or assaulted by police officers. Yep, exactly. He's just pointing at the FBI crime statistics saying, yeah, no, those are the numbers. Stop trying to paint a narrative. You're a racism. Okay. The FBI's data, which records violence against officers from 2010 to 2019, found out that there were 199 instances of black people attacking officers, but 537 cases to where white people were the offenders. Huh, imagine that. Once again, another disproportionate number, I'd assume, right? Kind of like how the gender pay gap is still a thing in some people's minds. Yeah, I know, right? Depends on how you twist the statistics, right? Women make 83 cents for every male dollar that's earned in the workforce. If you still believe that, oh my God, I've got some farmland in northern Florida for you, or a bridge in Brooklyn that is looking at every single dollar earned by every man and every woman, okay? And hours worked and calculated as roughly as that. That's it. Doesn't take into account days off, jobs that are worked, none of that stuff. Rough approximation. It's fucking wild. People still believe that. Well, if they believe that, they're also liable to believe that, oh yes, police officers, regardless of where you are, they're still out there lynching people, okay? Just waiting for another Emmett Till situation. Don't worry about it. Unbelievable. Said that these instances better aligned with the Washington Post's findings, concluded that unarmed black people are not disproportionately affected by the police killings. Yeah, exactly. If you don't fuck up, you don't get killed by the police. How about that, okay? Don't commit crimes, you don't face police violence, okay? Even if the police officer's being a cunt, okay? You deal with it after the fact. You deal with it later. You get a badge number. You get a name of an officer. You file your complaint later, because there's nothing to be gained there by just lipping off to the officer. And I'm not saying is that some fucking police simp, okay? I've got plenty of videos that are out there of me just tearing them down for being mask Nazis. Just learn how to pick your battles better. Kriegman added that the rhetoric that were only fueled anti-police sentiments, which he claimed has led to an uptick in crime nationwide. Yeah, I don't know, you look at every major city and realize that all violent crime is up. Well, except for New York City, where shootings and murders are down, slight percentile. What about everything else? Don't worry about that. Don't point it out either, and don't say who's actually committing it either, because that would be racist. He cited the Ferguson effect, a controversial theory that has claimed crime rose nationwide following the backlash against police over the shooting of Michael Brown by a white police officer in Ferguson, Missouri in 2014. Yeah, and then when they burnt down Ferguson, I gotta run back that case because it was also another lie in the narrative around that. Nobody was really talking about it because it was 2014. But yeah, I remember the fires. You probably remember the fires as well. Although the theory has been disputed, not disproven though. That's funny. It's probably the same ilk of opposition that the author of this article would be writing with it as well. The crime upticks only recorded in large cities. That's where most of the crime happens, okay? You don't get fucking gang shootouts in Dubuque, Iowa, okay? Fucking forests of Montanas. I don't think you have stabbings taking place between two grizzly bears. It doesn't fucking happen. Kriegman said Black Lives Matter claims have led to the same results. Now, I have avidly followed the research on the movement and its impacts, and which have led me inexorably to the conclusion that the claim at the heart of the movement that police more readily shoot black people is false and likely responsible for thousands of black people being murdered in the most disadvantaged communities in the country. Oh, as you get into defund the police, that would kind of make a little bit more sense. Kriegman said he wanted his research to open up conversations about how they could better report the issue and accurately depict the reality of police shootings. Yeah, exactly. That is the same type of talking points that James Damore was using too. He's like, listen, if women want to be in STEM, that's fine. There's a place for them. We should probably address the situations. But just look at the rest of my report. It's like, hey, if you want more or better understanding of the situation, just take a look at the numbers. It's like, no, you're a sexism. That's misogyny. Instead, he saw his post get taken down because it was allegedly antagonistic and provocative. Not wrong, not inconclusive. It was just mean, claimed one colleague at Thomas Reuters had told him, I do not believe that at any point in trying to engage in a blow-by-blow refutation of your argument, and I will not do so. Okay, cool, stats are racist, we got it. My unwillingness to do so doesn't signal the strength of the argument. If someone says the KKK did a lot of good things for the community, prove me wrong. I'm not obligated to do so. Who has ever made that claim? Outside of members of the Klan, like nobody has. Stop it. You're making these straw mans that nobody believes. Kriegman claimed that the bosses of Thomas Reuters stayed quiet while he endured the criticism, and then when he emailed HR about the alleged attacks, they hastened his exit from the company because HR is where all the wokeness began. He was told he would be fired if he discussed the experience of the company's internal channels. Yep, nope, that's exactly what it is. And that's why all of these media outlets are fucking disasters, because they just don't want to look at the facts, okay? Listen, I'm sure he's not out there looking for certain situations to prop up a narrative. He's not looking specifically for the data to further a talking point. I'm sure he just probably received the data. He is a fucking data researchist after all. He put the numbers in front of him. He looked at the FBI crime statistics and realized that all of those talking points that we're pushing in our news section doesn't quite comport with reality. So instead of fixing that issue, no, they'll just get rid of the guy who's making people feel bad. This is unbelievable, and it's happening more and more consistently. But hey, at least he got his story out there, and I'm glad that he did, because for fuck's sakes, dude. Like I stated before, yeah, you had James Damore at Google. There's Barry Weiss right there. Former New York Times columnist. Yeah, Barry Weiss quit her job at the paper in 2020 after claiming their Slack channel was dominated by woke bullies. Where's the lie? Former New York Times tech reporter Nellie Bowles announced that she left the New York Times to work with her for her wife's Common Sense Substack after being bullied at the paper. She married to Barry Weiss. That would be in line because I thought that was the name there. And then you got Amber Atheny. Why are they all women? That's interesting. Co-worker, co-presenter on conservative talk radio. Oh, we talked about this one. WMAL. She's cute. Okay. Tweeted about Kamala Harris wearing a brown suit during the State of the Union address and was deemed a racism. Right. Yeah, because I made the same joke in my thumbnail. Kamala looks like a UPS employee. What can Brown do for you? Nothing good, apparently. But no, you said Brown. She's a half an Indian lady, so that means you're racist. Then it's even happening in Canada as well, which is a surprise because it's just all dominated. Every fucking aspect that's out there. Sports, news, weather. Okay, they're all fucking woke when it comes to reporting. It's despicable conditions. But you have renowned Canadian media personality Tara Henley. I've only lived in Canada for 32 years, so I don't know everybody that's here, but you're saying that she's renowned? I've never heard of her before, but all right. Has announced she quit the company due to woke policies implemented by senior staffers that hindered her ability to do her job. And where did she resign from? Canadian Broadcasting Company that is subsidized by the federal government and by the Liberal Party. It's always been a talking proxy for the Liberal Party, even when they weren't in power. Okay, they were always stumping for that cause, and nobody watches that abomination. Okay. Outside of like a hockey night in Canada, okay, if the playoffs are going on, then people will tune in for that. But otherwise, nobody takes the CBC seriously, and for good reason. Just like Tara Henley points out, yeah, it's just woke policies. It's all nonsense all the way down, and that's the current state of journalism. Okay, report on the facts, and it doesn't comport to the narrative as opposed to reality. That's a ism or an ob or an obia, and you're out of there. But with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.